One night, one kiss, forever changed. The city lights of Chicago glittered like scattered diamonds across Lake Michigan as Emma Caldwell stepped onto the rooftop terrace of the Peninsula Hotel. It was one of those rare late spring evenings where the wind off the lake carried just enough chill to remind you that summer hadn't fully arrived. 29. Emma had built a life measured in boardroom victories and perfectly scheduled calendar blocks. Vice president of marketing at a booming fintech startup, she lived by metrics and margins. Romance. That was something she scheduled. For someday, a hazy future that never seemed to arrive. Tonight was supposed to be work. Her company was hosting a private client appreciation event, and she was here to charm investors. Instead, she found herself at the edge of the terrace, wineglass in hand, staring at the glowing Willis Tower in the distance. Beautiful view, a low voice said beside her. Emma turned it. The man was tall, with tousled dark hair that looked like he'd run his fingers through it one too many times, and warm hazel eyes that caught the string lights overhead. He wore a simple black button-down with the sleeves rolled up, revealing strong forearms marked by faint streaks of what looked like charcoal or paint. "It is," she replied, offering a polite smile. "Though I'm here for the networking, not the scenery," he chuckled, the sound rich and easy. "Alex Rivera, I'm not exactly networking. Emma Caldwell, what brings you to a fintech party if you're not schmoozing?" "I painted the mural in the lobby downstairs," he said with a modest shrug. "They invited the artist as a courtesy. I mostly came for the free appetizers." Emma laughed despite herself. There was something disarmingly genuine about him. No rehearsed elevator pitch, no calculated eye contact. Just a man who looked like he belonged under open skies rather than in glass towers. They talked. At first about the city, how the river turned green every St. Patrick's Day, how the lake could look deceptively calm before whipping up sudden storms. Then deeper, Emma found herself admitting how exhausted she was from chasing quarterly targets. Alex spoke about leaving a stable graphic design job 3 years ago to pursue fine art full-time, living in a tiny loft in Wicker Park where the radiator clanked like an angry drummer. Hours slipped away, the party thinned. Someone announced last call at the bar. Emma should have gone home. Instead, when Alex asked if she wanted to see the mural up close before the cleaning crew arrived, she said yes. The lobby was quiet, lit only by soft accent lights. The mural was breathtaking, a sweeping abstract of the Chicago skyline merging into the lake, but with hidden details: teeny figures walking across bridges, lovers sharing coffee on a bench, a child flying a kite in Grant Park. It felt alive. "You captured the soul of the city," Emma whispered. Alex stood close enough that she could smell his cologne, something woodsy and clean. "Art is just seeing what others walk past. You looked like you needed to see something real tonight." Their eyes met, the air between them thickened. Emma's heart hammered in a way it hadn't in years. She wasn't impulsive. She planned everything. But right then, standing beneath his creation, all her carefully constructed walls felt paper-thin. Alex. He didn't wait for her to finish. He leaned in slowly, giving her every chance to pull away. She didn't. His lips brushed her soft at first, tentative, then deepening as her hand found the front of his shirt. The kiss tasted like red wine and possibility. Time stopped. The city outside faded. There was only the warmth of his mouth, the gentle press of his hand at the small of her back, and the sudden, terrifying certainty that this was different. When they finally broke apart, both breathing unevenly, Alex rested his forehead against hers. "I don't do this," he murmured. "Neither do I," she replied, voice shaky. They left the hotel together. No grand declarations, just two people walking along the magnificent mile as the city quieted. Into the small hours, they stopped at a late-night food truck for tacos, laughing when salsa dripped onto Alex's sleeve. They sat on a bench in Millennium Park, watching the bean reflect the lights, and talked until the sky began to hint at dawn. Emma told him about her last serious relationship, how it had ended because she prioritized work over everything else. Alex shared his fear that chasing his art meant he'd never be able to offer someone stability. Their vulnerabilities didn't scare each other away. They drew them closer as the first rays of sunlight touched the skyscrapers. Alex walked her to her apartment building in Streeterville. At the door, he kissed her against lower this time, full of quiet promise. "I want to see you again," he said. Not just one night. Emma, who had spent years convincing herself she didn't have time for this, nodded. "Tomorrow. Or today, technically. Coffee." "Coffee," he agreed, smiling. She watched him walk away, hands in his pockets, turning once to wave before disappearing around the corner. Inside her apartment, Emma didn't sleep. She stood at her window overlooking the lake, replaying every moment. For the first time in forever, the future didn't feel like a series of checkboxes. It felt wide open. 3 months later, Emma stepped into Alex's sunlit loft. Canvases leaned against exposed brick walls. The scent of turpentine and fresh coffee filled the air. She had cleared her schedule for the weekend. No emails, no strategy decks, just them. Alex turned from his easel, paint on his cheek, and grinned. "You're early. I missed you," she said simply. He crossed the room in 3 strides and kissed her, the same spark from that first night, but now layered with familiarity and growing love. They had taken things slowly after that magical evening. Long walks along the lakefront, quiet dinners in hidden neighborhood spots, nights where they simply talked until their voices grew hoarse. Emma had started leaving her laptop at home on weekends. Alex had sold his first major commission to a downtown gallery. That one night hadn't just been a kiss, it had been a door opening, a single moment that forced Emma to question the life she'd built on autopilot, and Alex to believe that his passion didn't have to mean loneliness. Later, as they lay tangled in sheets, watching the sunset paint the sky in pinks and oranges over the rooftops, Alex traced lazy circles on her shoulder. "Remember when I said I came for free appetizers?" he asked. Emma laughed softly. "Best decision you ever made." "No," he said, turning serious as he looked into her eyes. "Meeting you was one night, one kiss, and everything changed." She kissed him then, pouring into it all the gratitude and wonder she felt. Outside, Chicago hummed on, trains rattling, boats on the river, millions of stories unfolding. But theirs was the one that mattered most in this moment. Forever changed, indeed. Not in grand cinematic gestures, but in the quiet decision to choose each other every single day after that perfect. The weeks turned into months, and what had started as a chance encounter became the most important part of Emma's life. For years, she had believed success was measured by promotions, bonuses, and how many hours she could squeeze into a day. Love had always been something she admired from a distance, like a beautiful painting hanging in a gallery she never had time to visit. But Alex changed that. One crisp autumn evening, nearly a year after they met, Emma stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of her office. The Chicago skyline glowed against the darkening sky. Her phone buzzed. A text from Alex. "Miss you. Dinner at my place." Emma smiled instantly. Just seeing his name made the stress of the day fade away. She typed back, "Wouldn't miss it." An hour later, she climbed the stairs to his loft carrying a bottle of wine. The moment she opened the door, she knew something was different. Candles flickered throughout the room. Soft jazz played in the background. The scent of garlic and rosemary drifted from the kitchen. Alex appeared wearing a navy sweater, looking both nervous and excited. "You cooked?" Emma asked, surprised. "I tried," he admitted. "Should I be worried?" "A little." She laughed and kissed him. The familiar warmth of his lips still made her heart race. Even after all this, timed dinner was imperfect. The pasta was slightly overcooked. The sauce needed more salt, but neither of them cared. They spent most of the meal laughing and telling stories. At one point, Emma looked around the loft. The space had changed. There were more paintings, more commissioned pieces, more evidence that Alex's dream was finally becoming reality. "You did it," she said softly. "What? You made it?" Alex shook his head. "Not alone." Emma frowned. "What do you mean?" He reached across the table and took her hand. "There were a lot of nights I wanted to quit." She listened quietly. "A lot of mornings when I thought maybe everyone was right. Maybe art wasn't enough." His thumb brushed against hers. "But then, I'd hear your voice, telling me to keep going." Emma felt emotion tighten in her chest. "You supported me when nobody else did. You would have succeeded anyway." "Maybe," he smiled. "But having you beside me made it possible." For a moment neither spoke. The room felt wrapped in something warm and sacred. Not excitement, not passion, something deeper, the comfort of knowing someone truly saw you. After dinner, they moved to the couch outside. Rain tapped softly against the windows. Emma rested her head on Alex's shoulder. "This is my favorite place," she said. "The couch?" "No." She looked up at him. "With you." Alex kissed her forehead. Neither noticed how late it had become. Hours slipped away as they talked about everything and nothing. Future vacations, dream homes, favorite childhood memories, the possibility of one day having children. The conversation felt natural, as if they were building a future one small dream at a time. Then Alex grew unusually quiet. Emma sat up. "What is it?" He stood, walked toward the large canvas near the window, then turned back toward her. His expression made her heart skip. "Alex." He took a slow breath. "Do you remember the first night we met?" She smiled instantly. "Of course. You were standing on that rooftop pretending to enjoy networking." Emma laughed. "And you were pretending you only came for free food." "Technically, I did eat a lot of appetizers." She rolled her eyes. He stepped closer. His hazel eyes never left. "Hers that night changed my life." The laughter faded from Emma's face. She could hear the sincerity in his voice. Every word, every breath, every heartbeat. "It changed mine too," she whispered. Alex nodded. I know. Then, to Emma's complete surprise, he knelt on one knee. The world stopped. For a second, she couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't move. The only sound was the rain against the glass. Alex. His voice trembled slightly. The confident artist suddenly looked vulnerable. Hopeful, terrified, and completely in love. I spent years believing I would always be alone. Emma's eyes filled with tears. You showed me I was wrong. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small velvet box, opened it. A delicate diamond sparkled under the candlelight. Not flashy, not extravagant, perfect. Exactly like them. I don't promise a perfect life. His voice cracked. I'll forget anniversaries sometimes. Emma laughed through her tears. I'll probably leave paintbrushes everywhere. You definitely will. I'll make mistakes. So will I. Alex smiled, then his expression softened. But I promise I'll love you. Every single day, tears streamed down Emma's cheeks. I promise I'll choose you every morning. The room blurred. Her heart felt too big for her chest. I promise that no matter what happens, I'll never stop being grateful for the night you walked into my life. He took a shaky breath. Then, asked the question that would change everything. Emma Caldwell, his eyes shone with emotion. Will you marry me? For a moment she couldn't answer. Not because she didn't know, because she had known for a very long time, ever since that first kiss beneath the mural, ever since those sunrise conversations, ever since she realized home wasn't a place anymore. It was a person, and that person was Alex. She nodded through tears. Yes. His eyes widened. Yes. Emma laughed. Yes. Alex stood so quickly he nearly dropped the ring. They both burst into laughter. Then he slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. The moment it settled into place felt strangely natural, as though it had always belonged there. Alex pulled her into his arms. She kissed him through happy tears. The same spark from that first night still existed. Only now it was stronger, built on trust, friendship, patience, but love. Real love, the kind that grows quietly over time, the kind that survives ordinary days, the kind that changes everything outside. Chicago continued moving. Cars crossed bridges. Trains rattled through the city. Lights reflected across Lake Michigan. Millions of people lived, millions of stories. But in that loft, surrounded by paintings and candlelight, one story had reached a beautiful new chapter. One night, one kiss. One unexpected meeting between a woman who planned everything and a man who followed his heart. Neither of them could have imagined where it would lead. Yet somehow destiny had known all along. And as Emma rested her forehead against Alex's, looking at the ring sparkling on her hand, she realized something wonderful. The most important moment of her life hadn't happened in a boardroom. It hadn't happened during a promotion. It hadn't happened while chasing success. It happened the night she stopped planning for the future and allowed herself to live in the moment. Because sometimes a single night can change a life. A single kiss can open a door, and a single person can become your forever. The end. CTA, like, subscribe, and comment. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to Romantic Nights for more emotional and unforgettable love stories every day. Comment below. Do you believe one night can change your entire life? Have you ever met someone who changed your destiny? End screen. Sometimes all it takes is one night, one kiss, and one person to change your life forever. If you enjoyed Emma and Alex's journey, subscribe now and join us for another unforgettable romantic night. See you in the next love story.